Okay, so we have wired up at least one or possibly all three of our LEDs in our mini dome, and we want to put some code on. It's okay, you could have wired up the whole dome, and now you want to write some code to make it do something for you. Well, in this video, I'm going to cover how we can write some code in the Arduino software so we can make the mini domes do something. First thing I'm going to start off with is lights. I recommend the lights first, and we're going to really just blink one light right now. And I'll show you how to blink all three and really how that works. It's important first, though, you need software. This software we'll be using is Arduino, A-R-D-U-I-N-O. It's a name that's actually right here. It's on the board. You can just Google search Arduino downloads, and you'll get the latest download. I think version 2 is the version I was using when I was building this. Once you download that wonderful little guy right there, you'll have the ability to connect your mini dome by plugging in a USB cable to the Arduino and plugging that into your computer. This could be a Windows computer. This can be a Mac. It could even be Linux, even be a Chromebook. Once you plug it in, you'll get the option of connecting to it by choosing the Arduino Uno, if that's what you're using, and you'll be able to then push and compile software and then push that software uploaded to your actual board. It's important to note, once you write software and you push it to the Arduino, once you push code to your computer, it'll just start working. So you can't retrieve that code back. So whatever you push to it, that's the latest code that's going to be on there. Okay. So we've plugged it in, we've got it connected, we're ready to rock and roll. So let's talk a little bit about this environment. Arduino is C++ code. That's the code we'll be writing with. These are special methods and functions which enable us humans to be able to read programming languages. We're going to make a sketch. We're going to type some things in here, and it's going to be compiled for us and then sent. This editor that we have that you're looking at right here, when you first boot up, all Arduinos have these basic things in here. These are instances. Void setup and loop are class collections of function and variables that are kept together in one place. Setup, for example, right up here, void setup, right next to the construct. Every Arduino has it. It provides a function where we could put code in here that runs just one time. And you can kind of see anything we put in this space right here. So underneath void setup, behind these guys here, are things that are going to run. It's going to look at it, it's going to compile it, it's going to make it happen. If we put a couple slashes here in the very front that turns this gray, that's a comment field. It's not going to be initiated by our code. We can put these in here, be good to go, knowing we just type in things to give ourselves notes and comments so we know what's going on. So right away, we have void setup. We have our instances. Setup is going to be something we run just one time. Things that we'll put in here that we want to run just one time, we're going to set them in pin mode. So we know the little pins we've been plugging in from our board for the LEDs and motors and everything else we do. We're going to put these that are in here. Well, we have to define those. And so we have to set up some kind of function to define those. We're also going to set up save pins. We're going to initialize classes. We're going to work on some variables, which is just a software term for calling something later that we're going to use. And we're going to just put on our logic of what we're going to be doing in the space. Below that, we have our loop. This is where our main code goes. A loop is, in any sequence of a code, is the main function. And it kind of hints to what it's going to be doing. It's a loop of communication. So we put something at the very top here. It's going to start there. It's going to work its way down to the very bottom and then go back to top and continue. It creates a cycle, a circle, continuing code. So if we put something at the very top, it's going to execute it, and then go back to the top and do it again. Unless we tell it not to, it'll just continue to loop in this space. Start at the very top, its way to the bottom, go back up. Okay? So we need basically 3 lines of code to make one light blink. So let's look at that. All right, so first off, you can kind of see I've outlined 3 things we're going to be typing in. These are 3 areas we're going to be working on. So right before we get into our void setup, we're going to define, which is a structured command. It's set up inside of Arduino, our pin mode, our pin. So I'm going to use just any word I want to. I'm going to call this LED1. Now we could call this light number 1. We could call it really anything we want to, as long as it's one word, alphanumeric, space, and then 13. That basically says anytime I type in LED1, it's like typing in 13. This is just for me as a human being, so that I know what gets associated to what. Next, in the setup, we now have to do some structure things. So the first thing we're going to do is set up the pin mode function. Turns orange, so we know it's a pin mode function. This set of code allows us to take a pin, which are these little guys right here, these little numbers, and associate to what we want it to do. So I'm going to say pin mode, and then in brackets, I'm going to give myself some variables. One of those variables, first off, I'm going to do LED1, which correlates up here, which means basically I'm saying pin mode 13, which is this pin right here, pin 13. And if you look at your dome, 13, 12, and 11 have cables in them that run to your lights. I wonder what we're doing here. We're going to basically say we're going to put electricity down pin 13. We're going to say pin mode LED1, which is pin 13, and we're going to say output. Output is a variable. We can say output, we can say input. There's a couple things we can say here, but I want to put electricity voltage out of that pin. It's 5 volts. I want to put 5 volts out. I don't want to accept 5 volts. I want to put it out. So I'm going ahead and declaring that that pin is going to be an output pin. After I've done that, I go down my loop, and then I want to do something. So digital write is another function. Now we're going to write something into that pin. One of the things I could do, one of the variables I could use is high. I could also put low. Well, hopefully this makes a little bit of sense here. So digital write LED1, which is the same one we're looking at here. I'm going to write that as high, which basically means I'm going to turn it on. Low means I'm going to turn it off. So once we type in all these guys right here, we put the little semicolon to the very end in the code. We now have 3 lines, new lines in here. So we go in here, click, hit enter, type these in. Once we have done that and we've got the structured ready, and we've defined these variables, we now click on, very top up here, our compile. See that up here? Click on the very top there to compile. If we get no errors, it'll say done compiling. If there's an error, it'll let you know. It's probably syntax. You've made a mistake somewhere in here. Take a look. For example, that's LED1, not LEDL. So just to be aware that sometimes I see students do that. And then after that, we hit the actual button right here so we can push it to the actual Arduino. So you'll see it blink and do a few things on the Arduino. It should say done compiling, and then look at your dome. You should have one solid light on your dome. Congratulations, you have made a light turn on. All of this work to turn one light on, right? Well, that was the goal. We're going to turn one light on. But hey, let's take it one step further. We've turned one light on. Now let's blink that light. Let's do something with it, right? So next, we're going to make a little change in our loop. That change that we're making is we're going to put in a delay. A delay just makes the code pause for a period of time. So if we type in the word, go back to digital write, after semicolon, hit enter, come down this new line right here. Oh, and by the way, these little comments right here, these slashes, you don't have to type in any of these. These are just comments that I put in to help explain what I'm doing. That's like type comments in there, and you can add comments to your code if you want to as well. I'll put in delay 2000. Now that's 2000 milliseconds, which is 2 seconds. So what's happening now is digital write LED high. We already had that in there. Come down here, we put a delay for 2 seconds. Digital write LED1 low, which basically turns the light off. Wait 2 seconds. And that's all we're doing. But because this is a loop, it's going to go back to the very top, turn on, wait 2 seconds, turn off. 2 seconds, on. So basically every 2 seconds, your light should be coming on, going off, coming on, going off. Isn't that super cool? I think so. So what I would encourage my teachers to do at this point in time, if you're watching this video along with your students, is to say, okay, you've made one light blink. Now, can you make 3 lights blink? What would you change? What would you add? The answer to that question is you're basically going to replicate the 3 things that we just did. You're going to make a define LED 1, you're going to do a 2 and a 3 connected to the 13, 12, and 11 pins that we have already set up. So I'd recommend pausing the video and letting students just attempt that. So can you make all 3 lights blink knowing what you currently know? After you've done that, if you want to come back, I will finish with the lecture in terms of getting all 3 lights to work. So I'll do that now. Hopefully you got a chance to pause and the students got a chance to work on that. Hopefully all the students got it. They understand the next steps. Maybe man, can you help a little bit more? Well, here you go. So to get all 3 lights to blink, we got a couple, we're basically duplicating what we've already done. So I'm adding in LED 2, LED 3 to pin 12 and 11. I set those to outputs. I put those in the same loop. So all 3 lights turn on, waits 2 seconds and turn off. Now I could put these delays in different places. So I could have 1 light turn on for 1 second or half a second, and have 2 other lights turn on and the other one turns off. And I can just make the lights do all kinds of things and putting in different delays throughout the structure. I would encourage students to do that. It's fun to have the lights do different things. You can only make the delay about 0.5, so about 500 is about the quickest delay you could have. But you can make 1 light turn on, wait a half a second, the other one turn off, the other one turn on, and just kind of rotate all that through and just come up with just any kind of scenario that you want to. Okay, so great job. Hopefully you got all lights to work correctly. I'm going to now stop this video. My next video will be about how to make the motors move. So congratulations on the LEDs. Hope you got them working right.